Hi, Peter. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thanks for asking.
Peter, could you tell us, please, what is this project that you are helping here in Oaxaca about cell phone?
Sure. So I work with an organization called Rhizomatica. We're based here in Oaxaca, and we work with communities, mainly in Oaxaca, but other parts of rural Mexico as well, and other countries too, to help them set up their own cellular infrastructure. So the towers, the antennas, all of the things necessary for someone to speak on their cell phone. We help communities own and manage that equipment and help keep it running.
Okay. What people can do using this network?
Sure. Right now it's basic service, what's called 2G, second generation GSM. GSM is by far the most ubiquitous cellular protocol. So most phones in the world use GSM, and it allows people to make phone calls, receive phone calls, and send and receive SMS or text messages.
Okay. When did you start this project?
Well, the project is an interesting question. So Rhizomatica is something that I started when I was working in Nigeria with some human rights organizations. And then I moved to Mexico for personal reasons and kind of brought the project with me and started looking into GSM. Previously in Nigeria, I was working on mobile mesh technology, which has difficulties associated with it. So does GSM. But here in Mexico, I found that the communities that I was visiting and working with for other things had a good chance of being able to manage their own infrastructure, similar to the way they manage their lands or their livestock and other things. So that's how the project sort of has evolved. So in Nigeria, I was working 2009, 2010. 2010, 2011, Rhizomatica sort of started being something, and then I started really making something of it here with other folks starting in around 2012.
Okay. Could you tell us what is the price that users need to pay in order to use this network or this service?
Sure. It varies very, very slightly, but on almost all of the communities, people pay the equivalent of $3 a month for service. So that allows them to do unlimited calling and SMS in their village or their town, and as well as to other towns or villages that participate in the project. And then they pay cost, basically what the cost of the VoIP calls are. So VoIP is voice over IP. You call a phone, a normal phone that isn't an internet phone from a VoIP account. It has a tariff associated with it. That can range anywhere from about 1 cent a minute to around 6 cents per minute.
Okay. Could you tell us what is the equipment that you use or the technology that you use for this?
Sure. So we use, the project is basically, there's hardware and there's software. So the hardware we use, there's two main components. One is a radio access network. So that's attached to the antennas, actually provides the signal to people's phones. And then that's attached to a what's called a base station controller. Excuse me, the base station controller is the brain of the system, does all the call routing, all the billing, the logic, the association of phones with their local numbers and all that type of stuff. And then from the software side, we use an open source software stack for GSM called OpenBSC.
Okay, and so now the next question is, could you tell how many networks exist already in Mexico?
Sure, so we work with 19 different villages, some of whom have come together. So there's, like I said, one site that has 6 villages and other sites where it's just one village. But there's 19 towns and villages that have come together and purchase their own equipment and have their networks running. So 19, I guess, is the answer to that question.
Okay. And what would you say about if some people want to join to this team and if they want to volunteer or
Sure.
just contribute, what can they do?
Yeah, we've had a lot of volunteer help in the past, generally from people with pretty specific skill sets. Anyone is free to get in touch with us, and if there's a right match, we're happy to have you. We're a small team here, and we're very busy, so it's not always possible to accommodate everybody, but if people want to get in touch, we're more than happy. We've had, like I said, lots of volunteers have come through. All of us who are staff, most of us anyway, at some point were volunteers, or at least weren't getting paid. So it's certainly something that's important in terms of our history as an organization, and we definitely appreciate all the help that anyone is willing to give.
Okay. Do you have plans to have also internet service in this network?
Yeah, so like I said, right now people can make calls and receive SMS. The equipment itself, the hardware itself, allows for doing internet, doing data, either via GPRS or Edge. The software still isn't quite there yet, so we don't offer that service yet. It's feasible, it's possible, it's something that people are working on. We're not directly working on it anymore. We were for a little while, but we decided to shift back to work on some other things. So it's certainly in the future, but I don't know exactly when it will be ready.
Okay. What can you tell if some people from United States want to have this type of network there?
Sure. Well, one, I would look into what the regulatory issues are first before getting started. The FCC probably won't look kindly on someone starting a pirate network or a network that doesn't have permission from the government. So I would look into that at first and see what the possibilities are. And then from there, you can go to our website or our wiki, which is wiki.rhizomatica.org, and look at how we put our networks together, and then also, what equipment we use. And if you are really serious and have already sort of moved through those steps, can get in touch with us and we can sort of help you figure out how to set things up.
Okay. And I know that in Mexico it took like maybe 2 years or something like that, maybe more, in terms of having legal permissions.
Sure.
Could you tell us a little bit, please?
Yeah, we approached the government here, the Secretary for Communication, also the regulator, a while back, over 2 years ago, with this idea. So it was just an idea at the time that basically it was technologically possible, and we thought also socially or sort of culturally possible for a community-run network to exist and to be successful. And that sort of initiated a process whereby there are now concessions available in almost the entire country for community-level GSM. That was a slow process, but it's a process that I don't want to say it's finished, but it's a process that's near completion, and so there are now these concessions available, at least in Mexico. And we also hope that this will inspire regulators and people in other countries to do the same, to look at Mexico's progressive stance on this particular issue and copy and say, okay, we're going to put in regulation that allows for communities that don't have coverage to provide their own coverage.
Okay. Could you tell us where in the world people are using already this type of network? Yeah.
So we started around the same time as a network in Indonesia, which is still going. There's some starting up in the Philippines. Like I said, we helped some folks in Nicaragua and also Somalia. So those are the places that I know where there are definitely networks. And I think there's probably more around the corner that we'll be hearing about soon, but I don't know where they are.
Okay. Could you tell us where people can find you, the project, or
Sure.
what this work that you are doing?
Yeah, people can check us out on Twitter at Rhizomatica, RHIZOMATICA, or rhizomatica.org, our website, or wiki.rhizomatica.org, which is the wiki.
Okay. Do you have, as a team, do you have a program or a project where you can communicate this project with the world?
Yeah, we don't have like a PR department. We don't have a marketing department or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
We've been fortunate that the project is interesting and has kind of caught people's attention, and so opportunities like this to do this video and be in the news and be in magazines and stuff have presented themselves. So that's how the project is sort of spread amongst the world. And then locally in Mexico, it's mainly mouth-to-mouth. So the communities where we work, if you think about them sort of in a more regional context, basically you have a community embedded in a whole bunch of other communities in a particular territory, and all of a sudden one of them has coverage. The other folks are interested. They come and they ask, how is this possible? How do we do the same? So we get a lot of other communities coming in just based on the fact that they've interacted in some way with the communities that already have service.
Okay. Have you had any inconvenience with other big companies like Telmex in Mexico?
Yeah, no, we haven't had any problems with Telmex or anybody else directly. We work in places that most of these companies have declared no-go zones, places that they aren't interested in working because folks don't have enough money or there's not enough of a population base or for whatever reason it's too hard to get to. So we're not in direct competition with the incumbent providers. We don't have any plans to try to displace them at any point. We're interested in working in rural areas that don't have coverage.
Okay. Would you like to tell something else to share with people, the people at YouTube?
The people of YouTube. Well, thanks for watching, and hope it was informative, and please get in touch.
Thank you very much, Peter, and thank you to the people at YouTube. I suggest them to share this video with their circles, so other people can know about this interesting project.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.